a time of reflection. COVID-19 now claiming the lives of 500,000 Americans. Among that number, 23,614 Pennsylvanians.
It's hard to put to words when you lose this much.
But as vaccine distribution continues, a light grows in the darkness.
I just feel like a weight's been lifted. I can't believe this has been almost a year in coming.
Tonight, as hope takes root, we remember some of the central Pennsylvanians who have lost their battle to COVID-19.
It is now official. The U.S. surpassing 500,000 coronavirus deaths, but it's more than just a number. The lives lost are friends, mothers, brothers, wives, and husbands. To those left behind, they are so much more than a number. As the U.S. pauses to reflect on this grim milestone, the bells at the National Cathedral in Washington are ringing 500 times at this hour. Good evening. I'm Jasmine Brooks. The real toll cannot be tallied or tabulated. It is the loss of loved ones, friends, and family members. And today, we are sharing one of their stories. CBS 21's Ryan Eldridge is live with us tonight. He learned more about a 61-year-old from Lebanon who succumbed to the virus in January. Ryan?
Yeah, Jasmine, thank you. Candace Highfield passed away on January 7th after a weeks-long battle with COVID-19. This would have been her 62nd birthday today. As a social worker and home and school visitor, she had dedicated much of her life to children. Her best friend, LOREEN, says it's one of the hardest losses she's ever had to deal with.
And it's not a number. When your very good friend dies, it's not a number. It's very personal.
Candace Highfield, or Candy to those closest to her, lived her life for the smiles, for the little moments. And she worked hard, so hard, to extend a helping hand to children and families in the Hempfield and Lebanon communities.
Candy was very strong-willed. She was the hardest worker I've ever met. I don't know of a time when Candy only had one job.
Still, her work ethic, her strong personality, even her health couldn't prevent the 61-year-old from taking a turn after coming down with the virus around Thanksgiving.
I hear a lot that you only get this if you are old or if you have a comorbidity, and Candy couldn't have been more full of life or healthier. Nothing wrong with her until she developed this awful illness. So hearing those things is very frustrating.
Candy would pass on January 7th of this year, leaving behind memories and a painful reminder that the virus doesn't wait for retirement, doesn't care where you come from, where you work, or who you love.
Despite all the precautions that she took, it wasn't enough. It's hard sometimes to even believe that she's gone, that I'm never going to be able to talk to her again.
And we also talked to Ed Highfield, Candy's husband. We're going to share his words with you, and he's going to reflect on Candy's life. It's coming up at 5:30 for CBS 21 News. I'm Ryan Eldridge. Jasmine, back to you.
Thank you, Ryan. As we reflect on a somber milestone, healthcare workers are saying we still have a long way to go to get the pandemic under control. ICU doctors with Penn State Health say they are fighting both the virus and misinformation as they juggle more COVID patients. And hospital capacity is higher than it was at the peak of the pandemic in April.
Feels like every time that light shines, there's another case, another death, another something that comes. And it's just really hard and wearing for the staff and the team in particular.
Healthcare workers say even as more people receive the vaccine, it's critical to remain focused on safety precautions. Amid the sadness of the pandemic, vaccinations are vital in the path forward. But as CBS 21's Samantha York tells us tonight, today's weather has once again complicated matters. Sam?
Jasmine, good evening. I spoke with a patient who is experiencing delays in getting her second dose of the vaccine, but she's finding a positive outlook through it all. Shipment delays caused by severe weather nationwide continues to push back COVID-19 vaccine appointments.
There's a huge logistical problem of getting all these vaccines out. and having a major snowstorm.
It can only get better from here.
Geisinger announcing its third weather-related vaccine delay this month due to Monday morning's snowstorm. The CDC advising patients their second dose be administered no later than 6 weeks after their first.
People who wait are likely to have more immunity. Now, the flip side of that is people who wait may have more side effects.
The day was supposed to mark a milestone for Carrie Swigert, scheduled to receive her second dose, now rescheduled to March 1st. The same day her parents are set to receive their first dose, both of them in their 80s, and among those she worries for the most.
I'm so happy they're getting it. I'm happy to be there with them.
Swigert spent the past year praying.
I have a daughter-in-law who's a nurse. I have a sister who's a nurse. I've heard their stories. I've seen them cry.
Knowing despite her own family's battles with COVID-19, hardships have hit other families worse.
We're actually at the point where about 1 out of every 600 Americans has died from COVID.
500,000 people, that says nothing of their loved ones that the ripple effect has gone out to and affected.
As the U.S. approaches a milestone of a different tune, Swigert holds out hope.
It's hope that we can be the community that we're supposed to be.
Geisinger patients impacted by the delays have been contacted and rescheduled. Now, as for Swigert, she says the thing that she's learned the most in the past year is that you don't realize the things you do have until you don't have them anymore. Reporting live in Harrisburg, I'm Samantha York, CBS 21 News.
Sam, I would love to welcome you to the CBS 21 team, and I have to tell you we are very happy to have you.
Thank you.
Let's turn it over to Tom Russell now.
It.
Of course. Tom.
Yeah, that's great. We love to welcome her to